Let's see.
Would you like me to start with the reading of the Open Public Meeting Act?
Yes, do that, please.
Yes.
So everyone who responded is here.
Yeah.
We do have a quorum. The meeting of the Board of Commissioners will take place electronically in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-93, due to the ongoing state of emergency occasioned by COVID-19. Notice of this meeting was given by one public advertisement with sufficient notice herewith to the Home News Tribune. Filing advance written notice of this meeting with the city clerk's office, and 3, posting this notice on the public website of the Housing Authority. During the meeting, participants, including members of the public, may be muted by the host, which is me. However, there will be an opportunity for them to participate and speak during the public portion of the meeting, where participants will be unmuted at their request.
Okay. Let's do the pledge of allegiance, please.
I'll go ahead and do it. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's have a roll call, please.
Well, we're going to do a moment of silence first because of 9/11, I believe. I believe that's why John wanted that here. So just
Okay.
take a 10-second
Let's do
moment of
that, please.
silence in honor of.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Roll
Thank you.
call.
Roll call. Let's have a roll call, please.
Okay. I just want to check off each member. Sorry.
It's okay.
Agnes Kalu Banyan. No. Anthony Minnick.
Here.
Felix Vargas.
Here.
Ike Agadosi.
Yeah.
Linda Montgomery.
Here.
Oh, hi. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Kimberly Francois.
Here.
I pronounced that right? Kimberly?
Francois. Francois.
Francois. Sorry. Thank you.
Next message from John Clark.
Consideration. Chair,
Yes, please.
consideration of previous meeting minutes.
Let's do that.
Assuming they were for meeting minutes of August.
For the July meeting.
For July, we didn't meet in
Sorry.
August.
Yeah, no meeting in August, so.
Yeah, that will be the approval for the meeting in August. I mean, in
Are we
July.
adopting those minutes at this time?
We'll
Chair?
just need a first and second from the board then.
Okay. First. Motion.
Motion to
Motion.
approve.
That is,
Francois.
Francois,
I'll
one.
second Felix.
Felix, second.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Anthony Minnick,
Here. I
No,
mean,
yes or no? Yay,
yeah.
okay. Felix Vargas, oh, okay, you're
Yeah.
Felix Vargas,
Yay.
Ike Agadosi,
Yes.
Linda Montgomery.
Williams. Here.
These are for the minutes for approving the minutes for July. A or nay? Yes or no? Linda,
Yay.
okay, and Kimberly Francois,
Yes.
great. Motion passes. Monthly reports.
Financial report first.
Chair, I'm sorry, we got a little static. Let me just raise the volume.
Yeah, so we would like to have the monthly report. Of course, the financial report is the first one that goes.
Yeah, can we make comments on the financial report yet?
Yes, please.
I just had a question, and I don't know if you can answer it, but maybe John can answer it next week. on the developer fees money, there was a big drop in September money. I just wondered, did we make a transfer to the nonprofit? Went from like 70,000 to 24,000. And that may be for the question next week.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, Commissioner, but I can certainly follow up on that.
So under agenda one, resolution 22-5567, resolution ratifying and approving warrants for public housing programs for the month of August 2022 in the amount of 18,061. I have two resolutions under that. I do not see, sir, your, I'm gonna go back to the budget here and see. And that was Mr. Minnick, right, with your question?
Yeah, it's just, it's not fair for you to get, but it just, if you look at the thing he sent out today, that, I mean, we had several 100,000 and then it went down to 24 and 70,000 by the end of the year. I just wondered if we made a transfer within the last couple months, that's all. It's not a
Okay.
big deal.
All right, that's duly noted, and I will have that answer for you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Chair,
Anybody has any more question about the financial report?
No,
No.
good.
I moved the financial reports.
Need a second, somebody to second it?
It was
Sec-
seconded.
Roll call, please.
that was Mr. Minnick with the motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Agadosi, Chair, you second it?
I
And
think it was
I-
Felix that seconded it.
Felix?
Yeah, second. Yes,
Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mr. Vargas,
yes,
Chairman Agadosi,
Yes.
Miss Linda Montgomery,
Yes.
Kimberly Francois.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Let's then have the resolutions. Consent agenda 1. and
Okay.
2. That'll be the new business resolutions.
Okay, under agenda one,
Yeah.
we have two resolutions, 22-5567 and resolution 22-5568. Would you like to take them individually or together? Alberto, does it matter at that?
Individual will be fine.
Yeah, as long as the board is fine with that, we typically do them together as a consent agenda. So then you can just, if you can just read them into the record, Dan, and then the board can do a first and second to approve that.
Okay, so let me back up. We'll do a resolution 22-5567, resolution ratifying and approving warrants for public housing programs for the month of August 2022 in the amount of $18,061.27. And I apologize for jumping the gun earlier by introducing that resolution. I should have done it at this stage.
That's okay.
Okay. Let me just go to my check sheet.
You can read the second resolution too.
We would like to do them together.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so whoever the motion will be for the first and second, I will identify on both of the resolutions, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Correct.
so first resolution, motion?
No,
so
if you-
motion to
So
forward.
read both
Read
of
the
them.
two, read both
Yeah.
of them and then we can take.
Yeah,
it
read the
from
second one, then we'll do
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Thank
Dan.
you.
Yeah.
So I read the first one, resolution 22-5568, resolution ratifying and approving warrants for housing choice voucher program for the month of August 2022 in the amount of $284,691.86.
Good.
Motion?
Motion.
I second.
Chairman Agadosi, you motioned. And second was Kimberly Francois.
Linda Montgomery Williams.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Linda.
Mhm.
You're welcome.
Okay. Roll call,
Roll call,
Anthony
please.
Minnick,
Yes.
Felix Vargas,
Yes,
Ike Agadosi,
Yes.
Linda Montgomery Williams,
Yes.
Kimberly Francois.
Yes.
Motion passes on both. I will have the motion reflect Chairman Agadosi and second by Linda Montgomery Williams.
Yes.
Let me just do a little housekeeping here first. Because if I don't have my information accurate, I will be reprimanded appropriately. Okay, consent agenda 2.
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and read them all together, Alberto, that's fine, and then we'll do the same pattern here.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as the board doesn't have any concern voting on them together, that's fine.
Are there any concerns, board members, for any of these that are left? 2, 4, 6, there are 6 resolutions.
Yeah, you can read them separately and then we just vote on them once.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yes.
Resolution 22-5569, resolution approving interlocal agreement between the Franklin Housing Authority and the New Brunswick Housing Authority. You want me to continue reading or you want to
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
Yeah, read all the
Read all of
resolutions,
them, yes.
and this will all be, just to make sure the record's clear, this will all be within consent agenda number 2.
Yes.
Resolution 22-5570, resolution authorizing and approving the Franklin Housing Authority HUD operating budget for the fiscal year 9/30/23. Resolution 22-5571, resolution authorizing and approving the late submission of the annual budget for the Franklin Housing Authority to the DCA. Resolution 22-5572, resolution approving and adopting the annual plan for the Franklin Housing Authority. Resolution 22-5573, added the hyphen there. Resolution approving and adopting the HUD fair market rents FMR for the 2023 for use by the Franklin Housing Authority. Last one, resolution 22-5574, resolution approving commissioners' attendance at the 2022 Governor's Conference on Housing and Economic Development in Atlantic City, New Jersey, from September 28th, 2022 to September 30th, 2022, which will be open for 3 individuals.
Okay.
I
Do I
move
have
the
a motion?
motion. I move the motion. We got a lot of information from John Clark in an email, so he explained everything.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Minnick moves, second.
Go second, please.
Yes, a second, Felix.
Felix. Okay.
Felix, second.
Vote.
Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mr. Vargas,
Yes,
Chairman Agadosi,
Yes.
Miss Linda Montgomery Williams,
Yes.
and Miss Kimberly Francois.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Um,
Okay.
I have an agenda item here, report of secretary and correspondence.
Yeah. Do you have any other report that you might want to give us? No?
Before we move to the comment from public, I will share with you one thing. Bear with me 1 second.
We have the finance report.
I do. Hold on.
Yeah, summary of resolution.
All right. I do have, I'm going to read into the record, under board resolutions, agenda 2, the interlocal agreement resolution. This is the annual interlocal agreement between New Brunswick Housing Authority and Franklin Township Housing Authority. The annual not to exceed amount has increased from 150,000 to 170,000 due to staffing increases and to budget to the additional expenses anticipated for converting all landlord payments from hard checks to a ACH monthly payment. This increase will also cover scanning costs expected over the year as we move to scan all files from hard files to electronic files with the PHA web system. The annual Franklin Township Housing Authority budgets and late budget submissions resolutions. This is the annual budget for the Franklin Township Housing Authority, and because we do not have an August meeting, we will be submitting to the DCA's budget late but the HUD budget is on time. We are using very conservative estimates for this year's budget because we expect Congress will do a continuing resolution through early December and will not do a full annual budget this year again. Annual plan for Franklin Township Housing Authority resolution. This is the annual plan submission for the Franklin Township Housing Authority and is required by HUD. Nothing in this has really changed, and we continue to work to maximize the services we are able to provide to residents within HUD's approved amounts. Demand for our programs continue to exceed our resources and HUD funding levels. And we are doing everything we can to assist most families that we can on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. HUD FMR rents for Housing Choice Voucher Program resolution. HUD has issued the new fair market rents, and we are asking the board to approve this, which we did, effective October 1st, 2022. As you know, the fair market of rentals were reduced during the previous administration, so HUD appears to be working to get these amounts back up to reasonable numbers. But as we all know, rents have skyrocketed, and we are hoping that HUD does not, or does even more than this to help us in the future. The Franklin Township Housing Authority has already increased its payment standards to 110% of the HUD fair market rent, and that has helped some clients find units in an easy manner of the fair market. That's all I have for you.
I have a question on that. This one-time increase of the agreement, between Franklin Township and New Brunswick, is that a one-time increase just for this time around, or is it going to be continuing?
I would be unable to answer that, but because of what's happened over the last couple of years and the unnecessary, unfair dynamics of COVID and what's happened, it could, I guess, if we have another relapse of what happened a few years ago.
So we don't know the answer to that question then, whether it's a one-time increase or whether it's something that will continue in the future.
I do not know. I probably, with budgets being so tight and with the inflation and the economy going the way that it is and costs rising, we're fortunate to be in the game this long.
Yeah, well, it basically says not to exceed, so that doesn't mean that it's gonna be increased that much. So we can talk to John about that at a later time, but
Right.
but like I said, he knows that if it gets to the point where it makes sense to hire a person, we're trying to keep the cost low. So that's really what it's all about. So.
Okay.
What is another question is this Franklin Township increase of the payment standard to 110% of the HUD FMR? Do you know what is the maximum that one can go to? Is that the max? 10%?
That, 100% is right. So they went above and beyond the standard. They went to 110.
Yeah, to answer your question, Chair, yes, 110% is the maximum
Okay.
as far as the HUD FMR. So yeah, you that is the max they let you go up to.
Okay, good. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Any of the commissioners?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna open it up to public comment at this time.
I don't think we have any person in the public gallery.
Let me take a look here, John.
I
Let me
think so.
see.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Charlie Cradaville?
You guessed it.
Okay.
Good to be with you all tonight. I am Charlie Cradaville. I'm a New Brunswick resident. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today. I did have a couple questions about that interlocal agreement. I appreciate Mr. Toto listing some of the differences or some of the changes that have been made. Can you tell me, are there any other differences or modifications versus the prior agreement that were not stated in the report?
Are you asking me that question directly?
Through the chair, whoever has the answer.
I'm gonna defer to the chair at that point.
Please, I didn't get that question, please.
I know Mr. Toto mentioned some changes in the interlocal agreement. I was just curious if that's all of the changes, or are there any others that were not mentioned in his summary?
As far as we know, none. This is the only change that we have for now.
Okay. And can I ask the change in the not to exceed amount? What was it before and what is the new not to exceed?
Not to exceed is,
Chair, you want me to answer that for you?
yes, please.
From
I think it's
150 to
not
170.
170,000, I think it is.
Yes, from 150 to 170.
170, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
And may I ask, was this interlocal agreement reviewed by an attorney? And if so, which attorney?
Well, we have our board attorney here.
Yeah, I can, well, the only thing I can say on behalf of the board is obviously we also represent, as the board knows, we represent the New Brunswick Housing Authority as well. This agreement was previously reviewed by another council, and I believe I can get you the name and the firm, Mr. Cradaville. I do have, but we did not review it ourselves because we're conflicted out. So, but it was reviewed by another attorney at the time. So,
Charlie,
I'll follow up. Yeah.
you can follow up, call the office. I'll have the answers for you. We're as transparent as can be, or at least, you'll have an answer from me.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I will follow up because I do have concerns about, conflict of interest. If there's, amendments or changes to the agreement, it really should have undergone a independent review because, as Mr. Camacho notes, his firm is conflicted out and couldn't do the review. Can I ask where Mr. Clark is tonight and why he's not able to participate?
But but the question you were talking about conflict of interest, the attorney just told you that because of that the third party attorney already reviewed this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that a prior version of the agreement had been reviewed, but not the new version that has been modified. Is that correct?
I cannot answer that, Charlie. I don't know whether or not it was reviewed again. I am aware that the contents of the agreement, as far as was presented to the board, did not change other than that number. So if you're talking about the agreement in substance not being reviewed, my understanding is it was, and the only change was that dollar amount. But as Mr. Toto said, he's going to get that for you. So.
I would
Thanks,
think that
and
I would think that the change is still within the parameters of the agreement. If you really look at it.
Understood. That's why
Yes.
I asked my first question. But I do appreciate the follow-up. I'll check with Mr. Toto this week and get an answer on who did that review and when they did it. And may I ask where Mr. Clark is and why he's not able to participate tonight?
Well, he's just not here. I mean, I don't, unfortunately, I don't, it would be kind of hard for me as a subordinate to ask my boss where he is. He asked me to fill in for him. I'm filling in, and we're gonna go from there. So he's.
Yeah, Mr. Clark has always been in every one of the meetings,
right,
except for today. So I would say he's been there for 99% of the meetings we've had.
Okay. Yep. Fair enough. I've never known him to not be at these meetings, so that's why I asked. And
well,
it is
when
my
you see him,
understanding.
Charlie, when you see him, you can ask him.
Exactly.
Sure, my wife's happy that I'm home right now. He's ecstatic.
I've been hoping to see him, but have not had the chance for a while. It's my understanding, he is the executive director of the New Brunswick Housing Authority, which is a full-time job. Is this role with Franklin Township Housing Authority a full-time or a part-time role for Mr. Clark?
I mean, it's there. It's already written out that it's a part-time. I mean, it's we contracted this out to New Brunswick to save costs on our own side. That is a known fact.
Right. Thank
And
you
of
for
two
the
full-time
answer.
jobs. Mhm.
Great.
Thank
And
you,
so
Chair.
it has all,
Oh, sorry,
it
sorry.
has-
Joe.
no problem. It's also come to my attention that Mr. Clark has accepted additional employment through a private company that he owns. He's essentially taken a third and a fourth job with Princeton's Housing Authority and the Atlantic City Housing Authority, both of those in the role of interim executive director. And, according to the last records I've looked at for those authorities and their meeting minutes, he's listed as the interim executive director there. And I wanted to ask if he had, gotten any kind of prior permission from any of the commissioners to take on a third and a fourth job with those other authorities.
Chair, I would refer and
Yeah.
have Alberto handle any questions of this magnitude, because I don't think
Yeah.
we are in any position to answer any of those
No.
questions of that nature. So I would refer to the attorney at this point.
And the only thing I would say, Charlie, is that this obviously the agreement with the housing authorities and interlocal agreement, Mr. Clark is not employed directly by the FTHA, as you know, and obviously that agreement allows for certain time and services for the employees of the New Brunswick Housing Authority, which includes Mr. Clark. So obviously anything else I can also just say for the record is that any time that any employees spend at the housing authority or spending of time, that is all recorded, and HUD reviews that almost annually, as far as I know, more than annually, as far as their review of those time periods. So you can be assured that Mr. Clark's time is accurately accounted for.
Yep. Thank you, Alberto. And I can assure you, this weekend I was up at New Brunswick for some other matters, and I saw John 2.5 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, but I would be, in a difficult position to ask anyone any type of questions. But people put a lot of time in, and he's definitely the leader. So, okay, Mr. Cradiville, you have any more questions?
No more questions, but some comments. I did want to just express some concern here. I know, the New Brunswick Housing Authority position is a full-time job for a reason. It is a daunting task to manage the hundreds of units of public housing, as well as the nearly 1,000 Section 8 vouchers. And not for nothing, it's also the redevelopment agency for our city. So I know that is a big responsibility, and I do have some concerns about that agency, and the fact that we had a senior housing building that was torn down in 2010 and still hasn't been replaced. And now to hear that the boss, the top person, is taking on a second, third, and fourth job at other authorities deepens my concern about the situation here in New Brunswick. And I'm not sure, I didn't really get an answer on whether any of the commissioners were aware of these other jobs that Mr. Clark has. But unless he's got a time machine, there's only 24 hours in a day, there's only so many hours in a week. And I understand that he's a hardworking guy, but I'm concerned about the manner in which this was done. You all did the right thing by having a interlocal services agreement with New Brunswick, so that New Brunswick Housing Authority is compensated for the arrangement, sharing essentially this personnel that you've done for many years. These other two authorities have hired Mr. Clark through a limited liability company where Mr. Clark is the beneficiary, and New Brunswick does not get any compensation for the time that he's spending leading the Princeton Housing Authority or the Atlantic City Housing Authority, and neither does Franklin. So I'm concerned about this situation, and I'm going to continue to investigate and follow up. But I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak tonight, and would be happy to have further conversations if anybody wants to speak with me. My email address and phone number are easy to find. They're at the bottom of every article I write on newbrunswicktoday.com. and be happy to speak further with anybody. And I will follow up on that remaining question about the interlocal agreement. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Cradaville, I appreciate it, but I will leave you with this, that we have a very talented group at the New Brunswick Housing Authority, as well as Franklin Township Housing Authority, but specifically over there, and there are a lot of good employees there. They're talented people. I've been there 18 years. I came here with a college degree, with a law degree, with a lot of experience, but there are other people that are equally as talented, a list of them. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that and make it look like it's a one-person agency there. But Mr. Clark is a valuable person. I mean, he's very talented in what he does, besides public housing, redevelopment. And there's not many people like him. And he's well respected in HUD. He's well respected in Washington. He's very well respected at the Newark office. I think anyone who hires him, whatever the deals are, they are. But he's a talented person. You're getting someone who, he spent a lot of time in this business. So I would have to defend him on that part. Okay, Mr. Cradaville?
Okay, excuse me. Well, we got to put a wrap on this particular subject because he's a full-time employee of New Brunswick. I think that will be where you guys can take this to. Yep. In our own situation here, we can always discuss how his employment situation affects us. What happens in Princeton and in other places has no bearing on us for now until the commissioners think otherwise. So it's not a full-time employee here. So I would think you can take it up with New Brunswick and you guys can hash that out on that side. Thank you very much, Mr. Reporter. What's your name, Reporter? What's your name again? Hello?
His name is Charlie Cradaville.
Charlie.
Yes, hi, Charlie Cradaville. I'm actually on two devices here, so you see my picture on the other box there, but this is my cell phone.
Oh, okay.
You can see the number and feel free to call anytime.
Okay, dokie. Thank you very much.
Chair, we can move to any board members with any comments at this time.
Well, I'll just say that it's been an exciting meeting. And does anybody else have any kind of comments onto this meeting?
I do not.
No.
Okay. I will, in terms of the trip to Atlantic City, I will make a comment on that later and then find out how we can proceed on that later. Okay, I'll send you guys emails on that. If there are no more comments, we'll move to get the meeting adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Mr. Minnick, did you move first? Okay. Second by Ms. Montgomery.
Yes.
Montgomery. At this time, I'm going to take a roll call.
Please.
Mr. Minnick. Yep, I see. I think he's on mute.
You're on mute.
Mr. Minnick. I don't know.
Yes, yes. Sorry about that.
I don't know if lip reading counts, but I counted it.
Okay, great.
Mr. Vargas,
Yes.
Chairman Agadosi,
Yes.
Miss Linda Montgomery Williams,
Yes.
and Miss Kimberly Francois.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, and thanks for
Take care, everybody. Have a great
Alberto,
weekend.
thank you, and we'll see you again. And you guys can reach out to me at any time if I can be of any assistance. And Mr. Minnick, call me tomorrow or the next day, and I can get you some answers.
Okay, great.
that we
Thank
talked
you.
about.
No problem. Thank
Chair.
you,
We'll see
everyone.
again.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.